Welcome. This is not just another video you will watch and forget. This is not a collection of empty advice. This is the starting line for a new mindset, a new version of you. A new future. If you have ever felt like your brain is a browser with 50 tabs open and most of them are frozen, if you feel like you are constantly running but never getting anywhere, if you are tired of that foggy feeling, the endless scrolling, and the crushing guilt of leaving your most important work unfinished, then listen closely. This video is not just important, it is essential. Because today, you are not here to get a quick hit of motivation that will vanish by tomorrow morning. You are here to get the cold, hard truth. You are going to learn how to fix your focus from the inside out, permanently. Not just for a few days, but for the long haul. And we are going to do this in clear, powerful, and understandable English. Think of this as a double-edged sword. You will sharpen your mind while you sharpen your language skills. Together. This is a comprehensive guide to reclaiming your mental energy. You are going to discover the real, scientific reason why your focus has been shattered. And I want you to know this first. It is not your fault. You will walk away with 8 proven tools to rewire your brain, the hidden enemies that are sabotaging your concentration, and the simple science behind your distractions. You will learn the exact techniques that high achievers and elite learners use every single day. These are practical, real-world strategies that cost you $0 and require zero motivation to start. You will never look at your phone, your workspace, or your own habits the same way again. This is a complete focus recovery system, built on brain science, human behavior, and total honesty. Let us begin. Lesson 1. The dopamine trap. Let us start with the root of your struggle. Why does it feel like you are fighting a losing battle every time you sit down to work? Why do you open your books only to find yourself scrolling through social media 5 minutes later? Why does a simple task feel like climbing a mountain? The answer is a tiny chemical in your brain called dopamine. Dopamine is the brain's reward molecule. It is the feeling of, I want this, and it is the fuel for your motivation. But here is the secret that the tech giants do not want you to know. Your dopamine system is being weaponized against you. Every notification, every bright red badge, every infinite scroll feed is engineered to give you tiny, rapid-fire hits of pleasure. It is a digital casino, and your brain is the gambler that never learns to walk away. Over time, this creates a dangerous addiction. You think you are just bored, but you are actually being rewired. Your brain is becoming accustomed to cheap, instant rewards. It is learning that focus is slow, that effort is painful, and that distraction is easy. So whenever you try to do something meaningful, like learning a new skill or finishing a project, your brain rebels. It screams for that quick dopamine hit, and because you have trained it to prefer the fast lane, you reach for your phone. You are not weak. You are simply caught in a cycle of dopamine desensitization. Think of it like this. If you feed your body nothing but junk food every day, you eventually lose the taste for real, healthy meals. The same applies to your focus. If you feed your brain nothing but short videos and quick notifications, deep work will eventually feel impossible. To break this, you must take drastic action. I want you to identify the 3 most addictive apps on your phone right now. The ones that steal your hours and leave you feeling empty. Delete them. Yes, right now. It will feel uncomfortable, maybe even scary, but that discomfort is proof that the addiction is real. Turn off every notification that is not life or death. Silence your phone. For the next 72 hours, commit to a dopamine fast. No social media, no multitasking, no background noise. When you are bored, let yourself be bored. Read a physical book, take a walk, or just sit in silence. It will be painful at first because your brain will go through withdrawal. But if you survive those 3 days, you will start to reclaim the brain that was always meant to be yours. This is how you stop the bleeding and start the healing. Lesson 2. The one-tab command. Let us be brutally honest about how you work. If your screen is a graveyard of open browser tabs, background music, chat windows, and buzzing notifications, you are not working. You are glitching. You are essentially forcing your brain to play a game of whack-a-mole, and you are losing every single time. The problem goes much deeper than just wasting time. Every single time you toggle between a research paper, a text message, and a YouTube video, you are damaging your cognitive hardware. There is a scientific phenomenon called the attentional blink. It is a tiny half-second delay that happens every time your brain shifts its focus from one task to another. It sounds negligible, right? But when you do this dozens of times an hour, those half seconds add up to a massive loss in memory, logic, and creative flow. You are essentially resetting your brain's engine until it burns out, leaving you with that classic, foggy, I haven't actually done anything feeling by the end of the day. Think of a student named Liam. Liam used to sit at his desk for hours, surrounded by a mess of open tabs, a Spotify playlist, 3 study guides, a messenger app, and a half-finished essay. He truly believed he was a master of multitasking. But in reality, he was just spinning his wheels. His brain was constantly trying to reboot, draining his mental battery until he was completely fried. Then, Liam tried the one-tab rule. He closed everything except the one single task he needed to finish. He threw his phone in a drawer, sat in total silence, and committed to just 90 minutes of focused effort. The result? He finished in 90 minutes what usually took him 4 hours of distracted, scattered work. From this moment forward, adopt this as your golden rule. One brain, one task, one tab. Your mind was not designed to juggle 7 different inputs. It was built for deep, single-minded immersion. Every time you leave extra tabs open, you are telling your brain that deep work is optional. You need to train your mind to be like a soldier, unshakable and locked in. Stop wearing your multitasking like a badge of honor. In a world full of noise, the person who can maintain singular, deep attention is the person who wins. Your ability to lock onto one target is your greatest competitive advantage. Protect it. Close the extra tabs, silence the distractions, and dive deep. Lesson 3. Rewire your identity. Now, we need to go deeper. You have cleared your digital space and locked in your focus, but there is one final silent enemy standing in your way: your own self-image. Ask yourself honestly, what do you tell yourself when you fail to focus? Do you say, "I am so easily distracted," or "I am just not a focused person"? If you do, you are actively sabotaging your own brain. Your brain is not a static machine. It is constantly changing through a process called neuroplasticity. Every thought you repeat, every label you give yourself, literally carves new pathways in your mind. If you keep telling your brain that you are a procrastinator, your brain will work overtime to prove that belief is correct. It will find every possible excuse to avoid deep work, because that is the identity you have built. Think about a young woman named Maya. For years, she struggled to meet deadlines and constantly beat herself up for being lazy. Her friends and teachers labeled her as disorganized. But one day, Maya made a radical change. She stopped identifying with her failures. Every morning, she wrote down one simple truth: I am someone who protects my focus like a precious treasure. She didn't feel like a focused person yet, but she said it anyway. She repeated it until her brain stopped fighting her. Within 3 months, Maya didn't just meet her deadlines, she finished them early. She hadn't changed her IQ, she had changed her identity. You need to do the same. Stop claiming your distractions as part of who you are. Instead, create a focus identity sentence. Something like, I am a creator who finishes what I start. Or, my attention is a tool I control, not a victim of the world. Write it down in your journal every single morning. Say it out loud. And most importantly, when you feel the urge to click away or check your phone, repeat that sentence. Your brain does not care if your identity is true yet. It only cares about what you repeat. The more you affirm that you are a focused, disciplined person, the more your mind will align your actions with that belief. You are not a lazy person. You are just a focused person who temporarily lost their way. It is time to stop betraying your own potential for the sake of cheap digital thrills. You are not what you were born with. You are what you build. So start building an identity that serves your future, not one that keeps you trapped in your past. Lesson 4. The 90-minute ritual. Let us cut through the noise and face the facts. You do not lack the intelligence to succeed, and you certainly do not lack the time. What you are missing is a system. You need a sacred, non-negotiable ritual that signals to your brain that it is time to perform. This is what we call deep work, and it is the single most valuable skill in the modern economy. Deep work is the state where you focus entirely on a challenging, meaningful task without a single interruption. No emails, no social media, no multitasking. Just you and the work in front of you. This is the zone where time seems to vanish, where your creativity hits its peak, and where you produce your best results. And here is the kicker. Deep work is not a talent you are born with. It is a muscle you build through a repetitive ritual. Why 90 minutes? Science tells us that the human brain can maintain high-intensity focus for about 90 minutes before it needs a genuine break. So stop trying to grind for 8 hours straight while being constantly distracted. Instead, aim for one 90-minute block of absolute, uninterrupted intensity. 90 minutes of real, high-quality focus is worth more than 6 hours of lazy, distracted effort. To build your own ritual, you need to be strategic. First, choose the exact same time every day. Your brain thrives on predictability. Maybe it is 7 in the morning before the world wakes up, or 9 at night when the house is quiet. Pick one task, not 2, not 3, just one. It could be writing, coding, learning a language, or planning your business. Next, create your sanctuary. Clear your desk, put your phone in another room, and eliminate all background noise. If you need sound, use ambient, lyric-free music. Set a countdown timer for 90 minutes. Once that clock starts, you do not touch a single thing other than your work. If you feel the urge to switch tabs or reach for your phone, acknowledge the feeling, but stay locked in. When the timer goes off, reward yourself. Take a walk, grab a snack, or listen to a song. You are training your brain to associate this deep work session with a positive outcome. Consider a guy named Oliver. He tried every productivity app on the market, bought expensive planners, and watched endless tutorials, but he was still failing. He was drowning in his own lack of structure. Then he committed to a simple rule. At 6 a.m. every single day, he would do 90 minutes of deep, focused work. No exceptions. The first week was brutal. He felt restless and agitated. But by the second week, his mind started to sharpen. By the end of the month, he was accomplishing in 90 minutes what used to take him half a day. He didn't find a magic hack. He built a ritual that forced him to show up. Stop waiting for the motivation to strike. It won't. You don't need to feel ready to do deep work. You just need to have the discipline to start the ritual. Motivation is fleeting, but a ritual is permanent. Show up for your work like your future depends on it, because, in many ways, it does. Lesson 5. Starving the distraction monster. Let us have a heart-to-heart about something most people are too afraid to admit. Distraction is not just a pesky habit. It is a full-blown addiction, and it is quietly eating away at your ambitions. It feels like harmless entertainment, but every time you give in to the urge to scroll or click, you are feeding a monster that only grows hungrier. Think of your focus as a wild animal. The more you feed it with junk content, quick hits of dopamine, and mindless scrolling, the stronger and more demanding it becomes. Eventually, your brain becomes so dependent on this constant stream of noise that it loses the ability to function in silence. When you feel bored or slightly stressed, the monster screams for a fix, a game, a video, a social media check, and you oblige, effectively killing your own productivity. To take back control, you have to starve this monster. You need to carve out at least 1 hour every single day for zero stimulation. No phone, no music, no screens, no background chatter. Just you, your thoughts, and the quiet. In the beginning, your brain will panic. It will feel restless, empty, and maybe even agitated. That is the monster throwing a tantrum because it is not getting its usual meal. Do not cave in. The boredom you feel is actually the healing process. Start your morning by reclaiming the first 30 minutes. Most people wake up and immediately reach for their phone, letting the world dictate their mood and focus. Instead, keep your phone in another room. Use that time to sit in silence, journal, or simply prepare your mind for the day ahead. This simple shift resets your nervous system and puts you back in the driver's seat. Also, start tracking your impulses. Keep a notepad nearby, and every time you feel the itch to jump to a distraction, write it down. Just noting it breaks the automatic loop. There was a girl named Chloe who couldn't stay on task for more than 10 minutes. She was constantly surrounded by podcasts, notifications, and background videos. She felt like she was failing at life. But once she implemented the 1-hour silence rule, everything changed. The first few days were torture. She felt empty and impatient. By day 5, however, her thoughts began to clear up. Her writing became sharper and her mood stabilized. Within a month, she wasn't just working faster, she was thinking with a clarity she had never experienced before. You cannot build a high-performance life on a brain fed by mental junk food. If you want to achieve greatness, you have to learn to be comfortable in the silence. It is uncomfortable, yes, but it is also where your best ideas and your strongest focus live. Starve the distractions, let your brain breathe, and watch how quickly your potential unfolds. Lesson 6. Oculomotor Mastery. Let me ask you a question that might sound strange. Where are your eyes right now? Are they locked onto this screen, or are they darting around the room, catching the flash of a notification, a shadow on the wall, or the movement of a passing car? Most people don't realize that their focus is tethered to their eyes. In the world of neuroscience, we call this the oculomotor system. In simple terms, wherever your eyes go, your attention follows. This is not just a metaphor, it is a biological reality. Every time your gaze shifts from your work to your phone, or from your laptop to the television, your brain undergoes a reset. You are essentially forcing your focus to reboot over and over again. This leads to what we call visual distraction fatigue. It is why you feel mentally exhausted after a session of work, even if you haven't actually accomplished much. Your eyes are constantly draining your brain's battery by demanding that it re-engage with new visual stimuli every few seconds. To master your focus, you must train your eyes like a monk trains his mind. Start with visual isolation. When you are in your work zone, keep your visual field clean. One screen, one notebook, nothing else. If you have unnecessary tabs open or clutter on your desk, you are inviting your eyes to wander. Create a visual tunnel. When you create a tunnel, you create depth. Try the gaze anchor technique. It is simple but incredibly effective. Pick a single point on your screen or page and lock your eyes there for 5 minutes straight. No drifting, no checking your periphery, just pure, steady focus. It will feel uncomfortable at first, like your eyes are straining to break free, but that is exactly the point. You are strengthening the stability circuits in your brain. There was a young man named Julian who struggled to read for more than a few minutes. He thought it was because he was bored, but the real issue was his eyes. They were constantly scanning the room, looking for anything more stimulating than the book in front of him. His eye movement was sabotaging his ability to process information. Once he started practicing eye anchoring for 5 minutes a day and cleared his desk of all distractions, his progress was night and day. Within a month, he was tearing through books like a pro. He didn't change his brain's capacity. He simply stopped giving his eyes permission to lead him astray. Your eyes are the steering wheel of your attention. If you let them move randomly, your mind will crash into every distraction in its path. But if you keep your gaze fixed and controlled, your focus will move forward like a guided missile. Train your eyes, master your visual field, and you will find that your mind follows suit. Focus is not just a mental state, it is a physical discipline. Take the wheel. Lesson 7. The physical foundation. You cannot expect a high-performance brain to operate inside a neglected body. Many people make the mistake of thinking focus is purely a mental game, but your mind is not a separate entity floating in the air. It is a biological system, and it needs the right fuel and maintenance to function. If you are constantly tired, dehydrated, or slouching, you are essentially trying to run a high-end software program on a broken, outdated computer. Start with your posture. When you sit hunched over like a shrimp, you are physically restricting your lung capacity. Less oxygen means less blood flow, and less blood flow means your brain is starved of the very energy it needs to concentrate. Sit tall. Keep your spine straight, your shoulders back, and your feet flat on the floor. This is not just about looking professional, it is about signaling to your nervous system that you are alert, prepared, and ready for action. Then there is the matter of sleep. Think of sleep as the nightly maintenance cycle where your brain clears out the mental clutter. If you are skimping on rest, your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for decision-making and focus, is basically running on empty. You become irritable, your attention span shrinks, and you find yourself trapped in a fog. Make sleep a sacred ritual. No screens an hour before bed, keep your room cool and dark, and try to wake up at the same time every day. You are not a machine that can run indefinitely. You are a biological organism that requires recovery to stay sharp. Hydration is another critical factor. Your brain is roughly 75% water. Even a slight dip in hydration levels can drop your cognitive performance by 10% or more. That mid-afternoon slump you feel? It is often just your body begging for a glass of water, not another cup of coffee. Keep a bottle on your desk and make it a habit to sip throughout the day. Don't wait until you are parched. By then, your focus has already taken a hit. And finally, watch what you fuel your body with. Sugar-laden snacks and processed junk food are the enemies of sustained attention. They cause your blood sugar to spike and then plummet, leaving you feeling lethargic and unfocused. Instead, reach for foods that provide steady, long-lasting energy. Feed your body real, nutrient-dense food, and your brain will thank you with clearer thoughts and stronger willpower. Consider the story of a freelance designer named Sarah. She was doing everything right on paper, using time-blocking apps, silencing her phone, and working in a quiet space. But she still felt drained and foggy every day. It was only when she started prioritizing 7.5 hours of sleep, drinking 2 liters of water, and fixing her posture that her performance finally caught up to her efforts. She realized that she had been treating her body like garbage while expecting her brain to perform like a machine. Once she fixed her physical foundation, her productivity didn't just improve, it skyrocketed. Remember, discipline doesn't just start in your mind. It starts with how you treat the vessel that carries your mind. Give your brain the foundation it deserves, and you will find that focus becomes much easier to maintain. Lesson 8. Environmental Design. Let us be completely honest with ourselves. You cannot rely on willpower alone to get you through the day. If you are constantly fighting the urge to check your phone, your environment is already winning the war. You cannot expect to build a masterpiece if your workspace is a chaotic mess of open tabs, pinging notifications, and constant interruptions. You need to stop trying to be stronger than your environment and start being smarter about it. Your brain is constantly scanning your surroundings for cues. If your desk is cluttered, your phone is sitting right in front of you, and your bed is within reach, your brain is getting a clear signal. This is a place to relax, not a place to produce. You have to flip the script. You need to design a space where success is not just possible, it is inevitable. Start by creating a dedicated focus zone. It does not have to be a separate office. Even a small corner of a table will do, as long as it is reserved exclusively for deep work. Never work in your bed. Never work where you usually scroll through social media. When you sit in your focus zone, your brain should immediately recognize the shift. It is time to go deep. Keep this area clean, minimalist, and well lit. Remove everything that you do not need for the task at hand, and please put your phone in another room. Not face down, not just on silent, get it completely out of your line of sight. Research shows that even just having your phone visible on your desk drains your cognitive capacity because part of your brain is constantly staying alert for a potential notification. Out of sight really does mean out of mind. If you live with others, establish clear boundaries. Tell them, between these 2 hours, I am off limits. This creates an invisible wall that protects your mental space. If you need music, stick to instrumental tracks that help you enter a flow state, and avoid anything with lyrics that might distract your inner monologue. Think of a woman named Elena, who struggled for years to launch her freelance business. She blamed her lack of discipline and thought she wasn't cut out for entrepreneurship. The truth was, she was trying to work at a kitchen table that was always messy, with her phone buzzing every few minutes. Once she cleared her workspace, moved her phone to a drawer in the hallway, and committed to a strict schedule, her productivity surged. She didn't become a different person, she just changed her surroundings to support the person she wanted to be. Your environment is a mirror of your future. If your room is chaotic, your mind will be chaotic. If your space is focused and intentional, your life will start to reflect that same clarity. Don't leave your brain exposed to the noise and chaos of the modern world. Build a sanctuary where you can go to build your dreams. When you design your environment to eliminate friction, you don't have to force yourself to focus. You just show up, and the focus happens naturally. We have covered a lot of ground today. You now understand how dopamine traps are hijacking your biology, why multitasking is essentially a death sentence for your creativity, and how to rewrite your identity to become someone who actually finishes what they start. You have the tools to build a 90-minute deep work ritual, the strategies to starve the distraction monster, the science to master your oculomotor system, the physical foundation to support your brain, and the environmental design to make success unavoidable. You now possess a complete system, not just some hollow tips or quick hacks, but a real, actionable plan for total mental transformation. The question is, what are you going to do with it? If you wait for the perfect moment or for motivation to finally kick in, you will be waiting for the rest of your life. Motivation is a fair weather friend. It shows up when things are easy, and disappears the moment life gets tough. But discipline? Discipline is the engine that keeps you moving when you do not feel like it. If this video has given you the clarity you have been searching for, do not just close the tab and move on to the next distraction. I invite you to subscribe to this channel so we can continue this journey of growth together. This is not the end. It is merely the beginning of the most focused, most disciplined, and most powerful version of you. Now, do what most people are too afraid to do. Close this video, put your phone away, and start your first 90-minute deep work session immediately. Stop planning to change your life and start living the change you promised yourself. It is time to stop being a spectator to your own potential and start taking control. Focus forever.